Joining us on the show once again today, a returning champion, of course, to this podcast. One of the few people who can say I have both won personally and coached an NCAA doubles championship. Of course, you all know her best as the Virginia women's tennis head coach. Welcome onto the program, Coach Sara O'Leary. Coach, it is always good to see you. Obviously, congratulations to you and the team on reaching another Sweet 16. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much, Alex. Thanks for having me.
No, it is always great to have you. I always like to say this time you know it's this time of year is I'm asking you to come on the show, so it must be some sort of postseason play. And obviously for your team now, 22-5 overall, entering another Sweet 16. Let's just start with it's a crazy question, I know, but we'll just dive headfirst into it. Do you think you know what the best version of this team looks like yet? Like just dealing with all the injuries, everything that has been this 2025 story, all the ups and downs. Do you feel like you know how good this team can be?
I think we're still working to get better every day. So yeah, we have had, a lot of ups and downs this season with just some health things and some, sicknesses and injuries, but everybody's dealing with those things. So we've just taken it in stride and trying to play our best tennis here at in May.
No, certainly. Again, those injuries and just, I guess, is it both is it more burden or blessing in your mind to have gotten the chance to, on the one side, play everyone? Like you kind of have gotten to see everyone get some run in your lineup this year, and certainly the opportunity to play keeps every player happy. At the
Mhm.
same time, I'm sure every coach would like to be like, okay, I know who's playing here today as well. What's it been like to get to balance those two things?
For sure. I mean, it's given some people some opportunities that maybe wouldn't have had those opportunities earlier in the season, and everybody stepped up. I mean, it's been awesome to see how Blanca Pico Navarro, she was ready when her name was called, and she's been such a rock for us all season and playing some of her best tennis right now. So, yeah, I mean, we've gotten to see our two first years who came in January get some playing time. So it's been great. I think whoever we put out there, I have confidence in. So yeah, in a way, it really has been a blessing.
Yeah. What's it like, just again, knowing the double success you have had yourself as well, when, and I think it's Martina who is serving underhand in doubles, if my brain is working correctly, that your
Correct.
smile
Yeah.
indicates it is.
Yeah.
How do you like scheme that up in practice? Is it like, look, we know you're going to be serving underhand in the match. This is what we want you to do. Can you just talk me through what that looks like?
Well, she actually had to serve underhand
Yeah.
at a tournament in the fall. She had some issues with her shoulder then, and so she went to the tournament at Tennessee actually, and served underhand the entire time. And she's just such a good competitor and just doesn't make excuses and went out there and competed so well. So she already had that confidence from playing in the fall, having to serve underhand. So when she had to do it in the spring, it was no problem. It was like, all right. She actually was pretty excited about it because she has a pretty good lefty underhand serve. So she has that experience. She was ready to go.
It was fun to watch and just again to see so much different problem solving across the board from your team this year, and yet through it all, again, for me it starts up top with the year that Sara has had, and for her to go 15-4, maybe playing her best tennis of her career in her final season, to just be the rock through all the different injuries. How valuable has that been for your team? Talk to me about the tone she has set.
Yeah, I mean, she last year at this time, she didn't know she was getting a fifth year. And so she kind of went through this time last year of feeling like, okay, this is the end. And I think she had some regrets as to how she handled that just mentally and emotionally. It was really tough for her and she didn't want it to end. And so I think getting this fifth year, her perspective has really changed and she's just taking it one day at a time, really doing a great job just staying present. And she's lived this season with so much gratitude just to be with her teammates another year, to be able to compete another year. So it's just a completely different perspective that she's taken on this year and just really made the most of it. I mean, she just works so hard on the court, in the gym. She's put a lot into coming back and putting her best foot forward. But it all starts with her mentality and her perspective. And having this extra year gave her a chance to do that.
If I would have asked you in January, like, hey, or if I would have told you Sarah's going to play the most matches at one in your lineup this season, is that something you would have anticipated? And I'm just curious from a tennis perspective, do you think something changed this year? Not saying she wasn't playing great tennis before, but to have this degree of consistent success, what allowed her to do that tennis wise?
Her game's really evolved.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's always been a great ball striker, but what she's improved on so much is her versatility and being able to use a slice, being able to handle when somebody hits her a slice, being able to come forward. Those were things that she could do, but wasn't real comfortable or confident doing, where now she's extremely confident doing those things. I also think her serve has improved. She's worked on that a ton. So she's just credit to her. She's put the work in and watching her do that day after day this entire year, yeah, I'm not surprised that she's playing one for us right now.
No, it's so impressive, and that theme of development, obviously, at a time where it just feels like every week there's a new name from the college realm finding success on the pro circuit. I'm curious and I want to ask every coach about this. When you're approaching development with players at this point, how much is it technique versus repetition driven? Like, is there any players, if they come in maybe earlier in their career, where you might be like, hey, let's tweak that forehand or let's tweak that backswing versus just kind of repeating patterns and just kind of, I guess, I don't know, consolidating confidence in the things you do best?
I mean, I think it depends on the player, and I think it also really depends on the time of year. A big concern I had with moving the NCAA individual tournament to the fall was I felt like it was maybe going to take away from some time that we could use to really develop different aspects within our players' games. But credit to my team, almost all of them came back early in the summer, so we still had some time to really work on some different things. But when you're in the middle of the season, we're not making many technical changes. It's more strategic and really watching match film and just working on different aspects for each player. But it depends. I think some players are more open to making bigger changes, like some technical changes. But I think you have to be really smart about when you're doing that. I think the summer is probably the best time because you're not playing match after match. And you have a little more downtime. I mean, when we're in the school year, it's class and practice and matches, and there's just a lot going on. So just being really smart about it. But, I think for us, that's been a big reason why we've been able to keep, playing at the top and being in the top 10 is because our players that come here, they really want to get better. And we talk about developing a lot. We're on court a lot with them, watching film. So it's a credit to our players because they want to put the work in and they're ready to do it.
Yeah, no, and we talked about Sara earlier. Obviously, the year Elaine has had, injury interruption aside, like 12-2 in dual match play. I thought the fall she played was her best fall as well. Obviously, walking away with an NCAA doubles championship. So something you guys are doing in Charlottesville is working. It's a credit to you, and to have this senior class of Sara and Elaine and Melody just through all of the injuries, how helpful has it been to be able to lean on them? Talk me through what they've done behind the scenes to keep this group together. And dare I say, this group plays with an energy as well that I know comes directly from them.
Yeah, I mean, they have led the team really well this year, and this is probably one of the tightest groups I've seen. And a big reason is a credit to our seniors. Melody actually has another year, so she redshirted her first year, so she'll be back next year. But also Nicole Kiefer, who is a walk-on for us. Elaine, Nicole, and Sara have just they've really opened themselves up and been very honest about their experiences and what they've gone through and what things have helped them. And I think our younger players just look up to them and have so much respect for them. So it's just built this great culture where there's a lot of trust, a lot of honesty, a lot of sharing. And I think it's not only helping us this year, but I think it's really going to help these younger players who are, first years and second years right now understand, this is the way I lead. It's not just about me, it's about me. How can I help these other players around me? How can I teach them how to do things the right way? And so they've just done an incredible job leading. And a big part of that is just being very open and very honest with their teammates, because we all have different struggles and it's just how can we help each other through those. So I'm really proud of their leadership, leading by example, but also just leading by, helping others and spending time with them and building those relationships.
Yeah. No, and for Sara in particular as a fifth year, I remember the 2020 team. I remember walking out of or not Midtown, XS, whatever it's called in Chicago, and being like, oh, Natasha Subash might be the best freshman in the country. Like I got to see that one. I remember it. But obviously for someone like Sara, who's now in her fifth consecutive round of 16, and she was there when you made the first in your tenure at Virginia. How have the expectations changed? Like you talk about that culture of preparation day in, day out. How different is it now in getting ready for this fifth consecutive round of 16 than it was for that group who did the first one in 2021?
Yeah, I mean, we know what to expect. We know what it's going to be like on Friday, playing in the round of 16. And so we've been through this. We've prepared for this moment before. Obviously, every year it's different, and every team you're playing against, it's going to be different. But I think we have such great leadership because they have great experience with that. So we're taking it, one day at a time. We're very, very focused on just staying present, not looking ahead. Our focus is all on Friday and Tennessee and really just today's practice.
Now,
So trying not to get ahead of ourselves and just taking care of business each day.
yeah,
So,
makes a lot of sense. It's why, again, the success has added up. If there was one match you could point to from this season where you think you learned the most about your group this year, which match would you point to and why?
I think I would say there's two of them, and it's those two matches at National Indoors when we beat Tennessee and we beat UNC, and just seeing so many different players step up at different times. I mean, you had Blanca down 4 match points, coming back to win in a third set tiebreaker, and Carolina down match points in her match and coming back. And then obviously Zio, I think when she's in those moments, she embraces those moments and she's been there before. But, we hadn't seen Blanca or Carolina and we had lost the doubles point to UNC. And I was like, wow, this is such a resilient group that just never gives in and just always, gives themselves a chance. And it was so fun, just to see that connection down the line in those matches. You could feel it within each player and just their determination to just not give in. And so I think it really set the tone for how resilient this group is.
Have you ever had something like that? Six team match points again, your group fights off. Have you been ever something like that, like a player coach? What was going through your mind through it all?
Um, no, I don't think I ever have. And for 2 days in a row. I mean, Blanca, we weren't down a team match point against Tennessee, but watching Blanca down 4 match points and then the next day seeing both of, Zio and Carolina. No, I had never seen that. And I wasn't on those courts coaching, so I came up when it was kind of the end and just got to see the end of those matches. But their composure, you could just tell that they were locked in, they were ready to go. They were staying so present. So it was so fun. It was so fun and just a proud moment. And I think it really has set the tone for this squad for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, and that resilience has been a theme because, as we've alluded to, I never knew what lineup I was going to see every weekend, and I got to broadcast it all on the ACC broadcast. I kind of I was talking about this with Paul Goldstein in relation to his Stanford choices at 4, 5, 6. Does it turn into a blessing again, as I alluded to earlier, getting to play everyone? Like, do you feel like you know who your best six are at this point, or is it legitimately to the point of, we'll see who has a good week of practice, and that'll be our six come this round of 16 even?
Yeah, I mean it's great for us as coaches to know we have so many players who we can put in there and it's about who we feel is most ready and healthy. Of course, you got to stay healthy at this time of year. So, yeah, I mean I feel confident in whoever we put out there. So,
Do I get a hint of what way it's looking this weekend? No hint?
no, not sharing any secrets. No.
That's fair enough. Well, I guess when players are dealing with injuries like they were all season long in their first years, how do you help someone like a Carolina in Isabel? Again, Martina got to play more frequently. I suppose it was more of a routine schedule. But how do you help them get comfortable in that first year when you're dealing with all those injuries as well?
I mean, we're very fortunate to have a great support staff with our athletic training staff, our strength and conditioning coach, and everybody's right here at our facility. And so, even if they're not practicing, they're spending time with the athletic trainers, they're spending time with the strength coach. We have a great sports psychologist. So, just using all these amazing resources we have here at UVA and just, spending time with them and making sure, like, even though you're not playing, you're still such an important part of this team. We need you working as hard as you can to get back. And that's what every player has done this year. I mean, I think everybody's had either an illness or an injury, but they've all worked really hard to get themselves healthy and ready to go because they want to be out there. So, yeah, we're very grateful for the support staff we have here.
Was there ever a week where, just as a joke in pencil, you wrote your name down at three doubles? You're like, you know what? I'll slide in. Why not? Like, I mean, at this point, I feel like just all the injuries and everything, and it's a credit to you guys that you guys have been able to still stay as successful as you were in doubles. And just again, I think the record coming into this weekend is 22-5 overall. And you mentioned earlier a film session. What
Mhm.
do those film sessions look like in college tennis? Like, how much of it is you pointing something out versus in those moments allowing a player to be like, wait, that's really what I chose to do there? Like, how much is that balance? What is that film session like?
It's definitely a little bit of both. And it's funny. You have different experiences watching with different players, and sometimes the players just, quiet and watching and listening, and then you have, Annabelle is just like, "Oh my gosh, what was I thinking there?" and and just, so charismatic as she's watching her film, and it's actually pretty funny to hear her comments, but it's different with every player, but it we do it a lot. I mean, I think that that's so impactful for them to be able to see themselves. They're hearing us all the time, during the match and after the match, and I'm like, no, I need you to actually see this. And so it's made a big difference. But yeah, it's a different experience with every player.
Yeah, that's what I got. We're gonna do a series at some point. Someone will have to let me in the room, and we watch the match with coach and player, and just hear that debate of, "No, you see the angle I saw," and it's like, "No, you know it's not the angle you saw." And so, yeah, I would love to see what that experience is like. And obviously, you guys are preparing for a Tennessee team who you played earlier this year at the National Indoors, a 4-2 win for your group. Do you watch the film of that match as you prepare for this weekend? And as you look at that Tennessee team, I'm curious what you view as their biggest strength.
I think that they have a great culture. I have a lot of respect for Allison. I think she does a great job. Those players play hard, they compete well. And so we know it's going to be a battle. I mean, it was a battle the first time, and it's going to be a totally different match. We're going outside. Sure, the matchups I'm sure will be different. So yeah, we're prepared for a battle, but yeah, we will watch some film. We know that team pretty well, so we'll be ready for Friday. But I have a lot of respect for Allison and what she's done with that program.
Yeah, no, it's always fun to play a team twice. Certainly not fun to play them a third time. Third time, too many. Then there's no secrets, and you're just ready for the war. But second time can be fun, certainly. And to your point, two great cultures. Like, it's just going to be a really fun competition between your two sides on this weekend as well. Friday, I think. Right? Yeah,
Friday
you
at
guys are
4.
for the
Yeah.
Friday match. Big picture, wanted to spice things up, ask some new questions of you all. Again, this is my chance to just check the temperature on all things college tennis here in 2025. This year, your group, obviously, that expanded ACC. You guys opted not to play everyone. And I'm just
Mhm.
curious if looking at the rankings of how the SEC was able to hog all that stuff by playing everyone versus knowing what the travel schedule was for you all this year, is that something you would re-explore on the ACC side, try to play everyone, or do you like the current configuration?
I think so. I've talked to some other coaches about this, and definitely saw just the opportunities that the SEC was getting weekend after weekend. I think I really want to see how the rest of the season plays out because, they did have a very challenging schedule, playing so many weekends and so many hard teams. So, I really, I think what's most important is you're playing your best tennis and you're feeling your best at the end of May. So, and maybe that match experience is going to help them. Maybe it was too much. I don't know. I don't know. We have to see how this all plays out. But I definitely for us this season, UNC and Duke were not on our ACC schedule, and neither was Miami or Florida State. And those are typically four really good opportunities for us. And we did end up obviously playing UNC and Duke at other times during the season, but it's such a great conference, and having six teams in the final 16, I mean, getting those opportunities to play each other is only gonna make us better. But again, it's just managing with with that schedule throughout a whole spring, and how can we stay healthy and how can we feel our best at the end of the season. So I really just kind of want to see how this plays out through the end of the tournament. But yeah, I'm sure we'll have more discussions about this.
Open to reconsidering and seeing, I guess. Is that fair?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, yeah.
Yes.
You're to
Mhm.
your point. You did get Duke at UNC, like by coincidence, of course. UNC twice.
Multiple times,
Yeah,
and
yeah, exactly.
UNC three
But
times
it was
this
weird. I
twice.
kept looking on the schedule, like when do they play? And it's like, oh, they don't play.
Yeah,
Yeah, because what is it? 18 ACC women's tennis teams.
17.
17. That's a lot.
Hmm.
Because you'd have to start like right after indoors, right?
Yeah,
And so okay, it's an
yeah.
interesting
Hmm.
proposition. I agree. We'll have to run the numbers after the season, and then
Yeah.
I'll try to give you a better answer. Big picture, obviously. I know you're getting ready for a Sweet 16, but the portal opens yesterday. Has your approach to the transfer portal changed at all as it becomes, dare I say, more normalized over the past couple of seasons?
Not really. I do take a look at it, and we've had a few transfers in the past, but our focus right now is just on Friday, so
That's fair.
not spending a lot of time there. But yeah, I mean, again, we're just trying to find the best people who will fit in our culture, and put the team first, want to get better, want to develop, and that could be a transfer, that could be a first year. It's just about finding the right fit.
Yeah, and in that same vein, and again, it's something I want to ask everyone because I think last summer was the summer of, all right, that is not the number that player is getting. Like you made that NIL up. That was last summer in a nutshell. And I'm just curious. Obviously, you guys have done such a great job with recruiting, including the freshmen you have brought in this past season. Do you think you have to offer NIL? Like how prevalent is that NIL piece in recruiting conversations today with top players?
You get asked about it for sure, and I think it's becoming more and more prevalent. I think for me too, I want to know, what's most important to you when you're making a decision on a school. Is it finding the best fit, culturally, coaching wise, school wise, finding a place you're going to develop, or is it more about the money? And so it's actually pretty telling sometimes in recruiting to be able to understand what's important, but it is definitely part of it, and we understand that. But yeah, I mean, I also want to see who's really interested in coming here to get better, and for these pieces that, are going to um de prepare them for life, rather than just the money right now. I think I look for players who really are looking at this as a long-term decision rather than a short-term decision.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense to me. Um, Last three questions for you. And again, asking all these coaches this. One thing you wish you budgeted more time for in practice this season?
Hmm. That's
Forehands
a
line, tweeners. I don't know.
that's a good question. I don't know. I mean,
Massage sessions to avoid, I don't know, like to avoid injury. I don't know.
maybe we could have had some more massage sessions to prevent injuries. I don't know. There's nothing really I've looked back on and said I wish we would have done more of that. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for you
I think
with
that's a
that one.
good answer, though. It means you're happy with how this season played out, and that's certainly a good place to be heading to the round of 16. If you were not playing on Friday, and let's say this applies to Saturday as well, what's one match you would want to take the time to stop and watch?
I have to think about who's playing.
That's fair. I think it's Georgia
Uh,
Cal, Duke
mhm.
Auburn, NC UNC NC State. That's a fun one, of course. I think it's
I was
A&M.
gonna say that
Yeah,
that might be it.
that's
That's
up
gonna
your
be
alley.
It's always a spicy match with UNC and NC State, and they've had some close matches, and we know those teams so well. So I think that that would be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I like that. All right, last one, and obviously I have to ask this question on the back of Elaine Melody capturing the NCAA doubles title. Again, congratulations to them. Massive moment for you in the program. Them
Thank
at
you.
their peak versus you and Jenna at the peak. What's the score line 2 out of 3 sets? We all want to know.
I'm pretty sure you've asked me this
I
question.
know, but now they've won it formally, so I have to ask.
I think my answer last time was 100% Elaine and Melody, and now that's even clearer.
It's the last
Um,
time I get to ask. We're not going to have it later anymore. This is why I have to keep asking until I get the answer I'm looking for, which is us 2-2. Stop it. And so fair enough. But I guess what's it like? Like how good are they? Like in practice, you see it every day. To be number one coast to coast, that's such a difficult thing to do. What do you credit that? Because it's just not something you see every season.
hmm Yeah, well, first of all, they have a really good relationship. They're super close. They've lived together, so they know each other really well. So
Hmm.
they're able to help each other when one's maybe a little nervous or one's struggling a little bit. They really have a good rapport and help each other that way, but they're so organized. They know their patterns, they know what they're trying to do, and they're just very disciplined with that. And so, they know their strengths and they're a lot of fun. They bring so much energy out there. So not only are they helping themselves, but they're helping everybody else down the line. So yeah, and they love doubles.
Yeah.
They're fun to work with. They every time we say, okay, we're practicing doubles, they get so excited. So um, it's been easy working with them and it's just a lot of fun to watch them play the way they do.
How many players have come into your office already and just been like, Coach, here's my resume to play with Melody next year? Like, I just want you to know, here's what I've accomplished. I think my serve, I think my return, I think she'll be able to cut. Like, she's a free agent. That's the
That's
doubles partner I'd
right.
want to play with.
That's right. I mean, yeah, she's a fun one to play with. If you watch her at the net, she's all over the place and can handle anything coming her way. So it'll be interesting to see who she pairs up with next year. But we're thankful she has another year.
Yeah, I like the idea of Isabel wandering, and you're like, everything okay, Isabel? She's like, yeah, I'd really like to play with Melody next year, Coach. Like, I just want to bring that up now. I think it'd be a really
Yep.
fun fall pairing. And so, no, obviously, it's been so fun to watch them all season. It's always fun to watch the spirit, the energy your team competes with. And yeah, you're going to get both of that certainly in your matchup with Tennessee here this week. And I'll end, as I ended with Coach Ojeda, I offered this theory many years ago. Nevermore, though, has the coach versus coach 1 point to figure out the serving arrangements appealed to me more than you versus Allison 1 point. Like, I'm just saying, if Friday it's nice weather, like feeling good in the warm up hit, 1 point. We'll just have some fun, certainly, and get the competition rolling right away. But very much looking forward to tuning in. Virginia women's tennis head coach Sara O'Leary, thank you as always for taking the time to join us here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex.